Welcome to the fourth session of the five-part educational series brought to you by the British Columbia Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Canadian Purpose Economy Project about how to unlock the power of social purpose for your business. By following along with each session, using the tools provided on the BC Chamber of Commerce landing page for this series, you will be equipped to define and implement your company's unique social purpose. I'm Mary Ellen Schaafsma, founder of Purpose Pathways Consulting, Purpose Advisor, and a Canadian Purpose Economy Project ambassador. I've been in the field of social purpose for over 9 years now, having helped more than 45 companies and organizations adopt and implement a social purpose as the reason they exist. I'm your facilitator for this series. Our vision for this series is that more businesses of every size and sector feel inspired and equipped to get crystal clear on the societal reason they exist and begin to activate on that purpose so that they power more good in the world by doing business. We want to see companies succeed while growing the ongoing good that they're capable of by becoming a social purpose business. The BC Chamber would like to thank Coast Capital for its sponsorship of this series. And to create the series, unless otherwise specified, we've gratefully drawn upon the many resources developed by the United Way of British Columbia Social Purpose Institute, Purpose Pathways Consulting, Coro Strandberg, a leading social purpose expert, and the extensive library that the Canadian Purpose Economy Project has produced and curated. Before we get into the new material, let's quickly review what we did in the first sessions. In session 1, we talked about educate and how important it is to educate yourself and your senior leaders and really your whole organization on the value of what social purpose is and the value of it for your business, thereby agreeing on the business case and gaining agreement to proceed. In session 2, we talked about the things you need to research and dig into so that you have all of the relevant and key inputs you need to define your authentic and genuine social purpose. That includes your company background, the strengths it brings to the table that you can leverage, shortlisting the societal issues that your company can most impact upon, and consulting your stakeholders on your purpose, focus, and greater good potential. Then last session, where the fun really happened, we defined your social purpose. We worked through the process by which you can land on your unique social purpose and underlying narrative that fleshes it out a bit. We showed you how to ideate and test your draft purpose and the steps to getting it formally approved by senior leaders. So now that you have an adopted social purpose for your organization, this final session will guide you through key actions. This and the final session will guide you through key actions to put into practice and create meaningful actions, starting with implementation planning and integrating your purpose into your company. So again, here is the 7-step roadmap that we've been working from in order to help you identify and implement your social purpose. So we've done the 3 in dark gray there, complete and on the BC Chamber website. And in this session, we're in steps 4 and 5 in the blue, plan and embed. Today, we'll cover the internal integration. And in our next session, we'll walk through external activation. So here we go. Let's get into it. Quick reminder, this is how you defined your social purpose for your company. You looked at what the world needs, you matched it to who you are, and where those intersect, you uncovered your unique, best fit social purpose. Now that you have that, we are ready to implement. So how do you do this? It's a long process. There's a lot involved, but the very first thing you want to do is refresh your social purpose steering committee. So previously you had a group of people that helped you define your social purpose. They may or may not be the same people you need to help you implement your social purpose. So Think about a cross-functional group of people, people who have some level or degree of influence and authority within your organization, whether it be formal or informal, and people who are true champions and understand the value of your purpose and what it can do for your business. In addition, you will need to update its mandate in terms of reference from guiding the development of your social purpose to guiding its implementation. So some of the responsibilities of this newly formed group, a newly defined group, might include embed purpose across the organization, develop and track an implementation plan, engage employees and stakeholders, measure and report impact, act as purpose ambassadors across the company, contribute to the purpose economy. So these things are built into the terms of reference. And then the next thing is to create a social purpose implementation plan. Like I've said, this is not a flip of a switch where suddenly everything your organization is doing aligns with your social purpose. It takes work to get there, and it takes some time as well. We've seen from 2 to 5 years, depending on your company and the complexity of doing it. So planning is essential. Here's a sample structure for a social purpose implementation plan. I'm going to walk you through several practice areas, and by that we mean typical business functions common to most organizations, and discuss how to embed purpose into them. I'll share with you goals and objectives for each of the practice areas and sample initiatives to adopt in each area over time. Thinking year 1, year 2, year 3, prioritizing what's possible and feasible, and the outcomes you expect from all of them to deliver on your social purpose. So here's this simple template that you can use for that purpose. So the first 4 practice areas that we're going to be talking about today, they are internal facing initiatives. And we will really dig into these during this session. We'll get to the external facing initiatives next time, and I'll overview them here and then add more detail to each in a moment. So first of all, governance and leadership. Obviously, if you have a board, your board needs to be on board and providing oversight on how the purpose is implemented. And certainly your senior leadership has to have that commitment to purpose and have validated a decision lens, which the organization will apply towards furthering its purpose. People and culture, you need to bring your people along and ensure a social purpose-driven culture, which, by the way, significantly benefits your organization as well. So employee education and engagement are very important so that all of your employees understand what your purpose is, your own purpose, why it's valuable to the company, and what they bring to through their role, team, and department to the purpose. As part of creating a purpose culture, you need to ensure that one or more of your corporate values also helps drive that culture. Then you want to build purpose into your HR practices and employee communications, from who you hire and how they're onboarded to your job descriptions, training, and incentives. This ensures your team is aligned and engaged, helping you foster a culture of purpose and innovation. Operations, you need to ensure your products and services further your purpose. So again, you apply that decision lens. I'm going to talk about that more, and I will show you how to see how well your purpose and what you are doing are reinforcing each other. Also, you probably already had some great corporate social responsibility, CSR, sustainability, or community investment portfolios. You'll need to take another look at those and make sure they're focused on your purpose. If you're not, they are probably wonderful things you've been doing that maybe you don't want to abandon just like that. So you can look around and try to find a different partner for those projects and those charities as you align what you're doing with your purpose. And then also look at different charities that you might want to partner with in order to further your purpose. It needs to be aligned. Business model. This involves updating your vision and mission. To do this, you set a long-term strategic direction for fulfillment of your purpose and update your mission to describe how you will bring your purpose to life every day. It's possible your existing mission and vision can support your purpose statement, but usually they need to be updated. And then you also want to build it into your strategy, your goals, your metrics. If it's not deeply embedded in your strategy, it's not going to really get you very far, is it? So next time, these are the external facing practice areas. So these include your customer experience and marketing. You'll want to begin to engage your customers on your purpose. What does that look like? Purpose has to be visible in all your touch points. How do you do that? We'll talk about that in the next session. Your business ecosystem. This is an opportunity to identify the stakeholders you need to collaborate with to help bring your social purpose to life. You cannot do this by yourself. This includes your customers, as I've just said, but also possibly your suppliers, community groups, governments, and others. You might start by consulting them and then identifying shared goals to drive impact on your purpose. And of course, as a social purpose company, think about what role can you play in the purpose economy ecosystem to increase awareness of social purpose business and strengthen your operating context if there are more social purpose businesses around you. Lastly, monitoring and reporting. To foster authenticity and realize the impact of your purpose, it is essential to monitor and continuously improve your approach. Recognizing this is a journey. You're not going to get it right the first time, but you have to start somewhere. And of course, reporting to your stakeholders is important. Transparency is key. As I said, nobody expects you to be perfect, but they do expect you to keep them informed and to see progress. So all of these we will be covering in the next session in more detail. So let's go back and dig into the first 4 practice areas, the internally focused ones, a bit more. So governance and leadership. Starting with your board, if you have one. If you have a board, make sure your governance manual specifies the board's role in oversight of the purpose. Ensure your board has education on your social purpose. They understand it and what their role is in providing oversight of it. We refer to that as purpose governance. Here are some other places to include it in board evaluation, director recruitment, and the CEO and executives' performance objectives and incentives as set by the board. And of course, the board should have regular reports to monitor your social purpose implementation. Your leadership also needs to visibly demonstrate support for the purpose. Are they champions, role models, mentors, and coaches internally and externally? Are they your biggest purpose cheerleaders at team meetings and in town halls? Do they go to conferences and speak to your organization's purpose and how it's helping your business and encouraging others to do so as well? So, like the board, your executive needs regular performance reports on social purpose implementation, which the steering committee can provide. Make sure your leadership understands this new role they have in leading social purpose internally and externally. Here's a resource for you. If you do have a board, you can scan this QR code. It takes you directly to this paper, Purpose Governance Guidelines for Boards. Very useful, will help you do all of the things I just described to you. So please go to the Canadian Purpose Economy Project website where you will find this document that will help you. So as you can see, we reviewed all the actions in step 4, which is plan. You have a plan and you've created the leadership necessary to implement the plan. Now we're moving into step 5, which is embed. So the second practice area is people and culture, where you educate and engage your employees on purpose and embed your purpose in your culture and decision making. There are 5 key aspects to this: communications and employee education, the employee life cycle, employee engagement, your values, and a purpose decision lens. So let's take a look at each of these. Communications. If your teams never hear about purpose, both the commitment to it and how it's going within the organization, both some wins, some concerns, whatever it may be, it's going to fall out of their consciousness and will not become embedded in your culture. So create an internal communications plan and launch it. Celebrate the social purpose and then develop clear and consistent purpose messaging across all internal channels. For example, if you have a newsletter, if you have bulletins, if you use Slack channels, if you conduct town halls, team meetings, make sure social purpose is built in routinely. Start every meeting with a purpose story. We know purpose storytelling, any storytelling can be a powerful way to embed ideas into your internal communications and put them in your calendar so you don't forget to do them and to gather them. Very early on, get a baseline on employee purpose perceptions so that you can remeasure as you go to see how your purpose is maturing amongst the staff and is becoming embedded in your culture internally. So here are some questions that can guide you to what's important to measure. And the link to a document that outlines these is in the tool on the BC Chamber of Commerce landing page for this series. If you ask these questions again over periods of time, you'll get very good signals as to how well your culture is shifting to become a purpose culture. Next, you want to educate your employees, kind of going back. Initially, you're educating on what it is in general and why do it. Now you're educating your employees about what your organization's purpose is and what it means to your organization, that underlying narrative that you developed after our last session. So think about it. You've launched your purpose. Employees are intrigued, they're curious, yet they don't really understand how it applies to them and what they should be doing. It's a change, it's a shift. So they need to understand that this isn't just altruism or the role of the community impact department. This isn't just better charity or responsibility. There is a business case. So express the rationale for the purpose, how it connects to the success of your business. It's important for your employees to understand why you're becoming social purpose and motivate them towards working towards it, your very specific purpose. Doing this will bring to light for them how they can bring it to life daily in their departments with their teams and their individual roles. If they don't understand the connection between their work, their team's work, and their department's contribution to the purpose, not a lot is going to happen. And if there are no expectations that it happen, not a lot will happen. So consider setting a target for this. For instance, that all of your employees undergo social purpose training in the first 1 or 2 years, depending on the size of your workforce. Make sure they understand it. Finally, it must be clear that they are empowered to innovate around that purpose and to understand and use that purpose decision lens that we will talk about more in a moment. So obviously there's a significant role that human resources plays to make purpose visible through the whole employee life cycle. It includes recruitment, hiring, onboarding, job descriptions, training and development, incentives and recognition, and performance objectives and reviews. Let's take a closer look at those. So this is a chart from a resource from the Canadian Purpose Economy Project. Again, links to this in the tool on the BC Chamber website that describes the whole employee life cycle and the various things you can do with each point of the life cycle to help embed social purpose into your culture. So attracting employees, incorporate your purpose into your brand, into your career page, job postings, advertising, career fairs. Make sure it's visible when you recruit. In fact, I know of one company who has done this and has increased their quality applicants by 269% since they started doing this. So this works. As you're recruiting new hires, incorporate it into your job descriptions, interview questions, reference checks, employee agreements, and offer letter. If they see it everywhere, they will know that this is going to be part of their job and an expectation and something they can contribute their skills and talents and expertise to. When you're onboarding, make sure it's part of the orientation process. Make it visible in your workplace. I'll show you a few examples of that so that they recognize the importance of social purpose to the organization from the get-go. Put it in your employee email signature line and in your employee handbook. Make it visible, unforgettable. Then, as you're developing your employees, give them leadership opportunities, training, and mentors around purpose. Include it in individual development plans. Allow them to volunteer around your purpose and think about succession planning. Incentivize and link compensation to social purpose performance. Make sure there's a recognition program. For instance, the BC Lotteries Commission has a Social Purpose Employee Champion Award, and I know some of the people who have won it. It's very motivating and makes those folks who dedicate a lot of their time on the job to furthering purpose, which furthers business objectives, feel like their efforts are valued and are an example to their fellow employees about how important this is. As your employees continue on with your company, make sure purpose goals are included in performance management and that there are also team goals. Just like purpose can't be implemented by a company all by itself, same with by an employee, has to be a team effort. Tell those success stories included in your internal communications. Do an engagement survey, offer purpose professional development. There are more and more opportunities available every day. Finally, transitioning out and into retirement, do legacy planning. Don't let that organizational knowledge just disappear. Do exit interviews, gather the stories, and keep retirees engaged after they move on. They still have something to offer to your purpose. So there are some of the things you can do along the whole company employee social purpose life cycle to ensure a culture of purpose. Here's an example, Moto car sharing. This is also found in the Social Purpose Toolkit, a Canadian Purpose Economy project resource. So their purpose is we exist to transform communities by connecting people with places in a way that's affordable, convenient, inclusive, and sustainable. So what does Moto do in the employee life cycle? I'll just highlight a couple for you. Attract employees. They do put Moto's purpose in job postings to attract people that align with that purpose. Recruiting new employees in their interview guides, they have purpose-related questions accompanied by, for the interviewer, what to listen for in an answer and why it's relevant to Moto's purpose. Onboarding new employees in the orientation, they do purpose-related sessions about why Moto and people and culture, speaking deeply about their social purpose. And developing purpose-focused employees in staff meetings, wherever relevant, social purpose stories are shared and celebrated. All employee workshops focus on the realization of the purpose. So that's one company that's doing this very well, Moto Car Sharing. Next is employee engagement. Here are some ways to engage your employees, all with the purpose of motivating, supporting them to contribute to your purpose and encouraging an innovative mindset about how to bring purpose to life. You could create a purpose hub with resources to help them bring purpose to life. If they're struggling to come up with some ideas, help them do it. Give them some starters. Have special events, purpose pop-ups, workshops, forums. Establish an internal social purpose award, as we mentioned. Purpose days, purpose hackathons, like no bad ideas. Let's just throw them all out there and see what might work. Just allow them the space and time to innovate around purpose. And all of these things lead to more effectively embedding social purpose in your organizational culture, engaging your employees to help you deliver on your purpose. A little bit more on purpose and culture. Values. Values underpin and drive organizational culture. So revisit your existing values and develop one or perhaps more corporate values to help drive your purpose into your organizational culture. There is a great diversity in approaches as the values are as unique to each individual company as their purpose statement is. So there is no single right way to do this. The most important consideration is to ensure there is at least one value that directly reflects your social purpose. This is an example. I mentioned the BC Lotteries Corporation earlier. They have 3 values: integrity, respect, and community. Well, let's look at the community value. They adopted this after creating their purpose, and it's designed to implement their purpose and vision. So you can see how the behaviors they seek to embed in the community value within the organization strengthen that value. Positive impact for people and planet. We take responsibility. We consider diverse perspectives when making decisions. We make time to help others succeed. We advocate for the greater good. So next, after you've updated your values, for your social purpose to be embedded in all that it does, each functional department needs to assess how well its existing policies, procedures, partners, documents, and plans advance the social purpose. And where there's misalignment or gaps, build an implementation plan to address them. Companies that I know have found that it's very motivating to make purpose visible inside and outside the office. I'll show you a couple of examples of those in a moment. And also, we've touched on this, mentioned it before, develop a purpose decision lens. That is, use your purpose and underlying narrative to create a decision lens that helps you in the first instance, as you're evaluating things, make go, no go calls much easier. A bit more on this again in a moment. So Maureen Young, the VP of Social Purpose at Coast Capital, said, our social purpose should support our agility. We have built a decision lens tool to help us with our decision making we need to make in regarding new opportunities, partners, and suppliers. Our purpose is our North Star and will help us to be more agile in the execution of our strategy. Again, can't stress it enough, social purpose acts as a guiding principle, helping leaders prioritize long-term impact. So decision lens categories, as you outline the decision criteria, these are the things you need to evaluate as you're moving through that. So is whatever you're considering purpose driving? Does it advance your social purpose? If yes, that's a move on to the next phase of evaluating the opportunity. Is it purpose neutral? That is, it neither advances nor detracts from social purpose. And the things to do there are, could you suggest any changes to make its purpose driving? If adjustments aren't feasible, is there still a rationale for remaining neutral? As long as it's not purpose contra, that is, it has a negative impact on your social purpose. If whatever you're considering using your purpose decision lens is contra to your purpose, look to see if there are any adjustments to mitigate the negative impacts so that it's purpose neutral or even purpose driving. If that's not possible and you need to continue, explain why and justify why the company should proceed despite the misalignment. On the other hand, if you can't do that, you may need to rethink whatever it is you have run through the decision lens. So here's some fun stuff. This is making purpose visible around the office. The Canadian Real Estate Association, whose purpose is to open doors to thriving futures for all, beginning with home, created this mural in their office in both official Canadian languages, English and French, that cannot be missed by staff and visitors coming through the building. Also, they created this notepad that has their purpose and a door opening on the front that just reinforces as gifts to people that engage with them that they do have this purpose and what it means. Then we look at Van City. It's a credit union that has a very strong social purpose, has for very many years. You enter one of their buildings and their elevators. Make sure everyone is exposed to and aware that they are a social purpose company. Very interesting way of declaring purpose and purpose commitment. So this wraps up people and culture. and all you do to inform, excite, and engage your employees to become purpose ambassadors, innovators, and activators. So now we'll move on to practice area 3, operations. So as with everything else, you need to make sure the things you're putting out into the world, your products or services, support your purpose. So have your product team conduct a review and assess purpose alignment of existing products. How do they support or advance your purpose? Here's an evaluation chart you can use, produced by the Canadian Purpose Economy Project, and you evaluate products and services. Again, similar to using the decision lens, is it aligned or not aligned? Where there are opportunities for alignment or enhancements, can you adjust that to build that greater alignment? Or can you consider developing a new feature or even a new product? This is where innovation comes in, really. It's that lens that gives you new way of looking at everything you do. And this is not something that happens overnight. This is something that takes time. It is a journey. You have to plan, you have to assess, be clear about what happens next, and then next, and then next, until you're in alignment, creating the plan and timelines, and communicating those are vital to your success and will take time. Don't worry, just get started, communicate, have a plan, be willing to adjust, and you will be fine. Doing this enables innovation, potentially opening up new markets or new customer segments that you never noticed before. It also helps you mitigate reputational, legal, and market risks by addressing products that conflict with your social purpose. And of course, it continues to engage your employees and customers on your purpose and drives impact. Still in the operations practice area, here we look at your existing CSR, corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and community investment initiatives. As I mentioned, companies typically have pre-existing activities in these areas prior to adopting your social purpose. Once you adopt your social purpose, you need to review and align your social and environmental programs by focusing your CSR, ESG, and community investments on advancing your purpose. So you can start by leveraging your pre-existing initiatives to activate on your social purpose right away. Your social purpose can help you set CSR, ESG, and community impact priorities, and they can help you accelerate progress on your purpose. So Coast Capital, as an example, disbanded its community investment program when it adopted its purpose and created a social purpose office in its place that took those activities and aligned them under social purpose now. Here on this slide is a decision tree that Community Savings, another credit union, came up with that you might find helpful. As you can see on the bottom left, their purpose is to unite working people to build a just world, and they pass their CSR through the social purpose lens that we discussed. And here's the decision tree that you can find in the tool on the BC Chamber landing page for this session to help you do something like it to assess how well your social practices are fitting under your social purpose now. So now we're moving to practice area 4, which is about your company's business model and how it creates value through its vision, mission, and strategy. In the 7-step roadmap that we've been working off of, we refer to this as updating your vision and corporate strategy with social purpose goals. So remember, your vision and mission are shaped by your social purpose that creates overarching goals for your business. So you may remember this graphic of the business architecture, where your purpose is why you exist, your vision is where you're headed, your mission is what you do and how you operate to get there. So create that long-term vision to guide where your organization is headed in fulfillment of its purpose. For example, if your purpose is to address housing inequities, Your vision might include becoming a leader in affordable housing solutions. Your purpose is the highest level of direction, and your vision and mission should ladder up to it and support it and set the context for your corporate strategy. So imagine the future state of the organization when driven by purpose, and that should become your new vision. Vision statements are typically 10 years out and never less than that. They have to be long term. So make sure you consult stakeholders to get input into your vision. Answering the questions, what does success look like in the future? What's different because of our achievements? How will we know we're achieving our purpose? When selecting stakeholders to engage on this, include those the company wants to create value for, those which the company wants to collaborate with on its purpose. Prioritize those most relevant to your purpose. Update or create a mission statement that sets out what your organization does to bring its purpose to life every day. Your mission statement should clearly express what your organization does and how it operates to fulfill its purpose. Focus on the key activities, services, or products that drive impact on your purpose. Remember, purpose is why, vision is where, mission is what and how, and they should all be aligned and supporting each other. It's very important to embed your social purpose into your strategy or business plan. Having purpose integrated into your strategy signals its importance, ensuring it gets the attention, resources, and commitment needed to drive meaningful progress. Without this integration, purpose risks being sidelined rather than guiding decision-making and business success. When it becomes embedded in your strategy, you are going to ensure you dedicate what is needed to make it happen. So define your purpose priorities. First, understand your current state. Conduct a current state assessment across the organization to understand where your company is already working on its purpose for insights into future priorities. Consult again your stakeholders, hold focus groups, workshops, innovation challenges, and other engagement sessions with both internal and external stakeholders to identify priorities you can pursue to move towards your purpose. This should result in a few priorities, 3 to 5, that you can put in your strategy to advance on your vision and purpose. Do note that every objective in your strategic plan is not going to be about furthering purpose, but none of them should be contrary to your social purpose. Your clear purpose fosters creativity and opens new opportunities for products, services, and partnerships that address the focus area of your social purpose and enable new strategies to take shape. Then translate your priorities into clear goal statements with metrics and targets to track progress effectively. You might feel a bit nervous about setting some of your purpose goals, but it is important to remember that you will need to collaborate with your stakeholders to achieve them. We'll discuss that in our next webinar. So you're not in this alone. You can set targets and then how you're going to accomplish them. Also make sure resource allocation reflects your purpose priorities. Allocate resources, accountabilities, and timelines to implement your corporate strategy or business plan. Consider using a theory of change to articulate the desired social purpose impact and identify key success indicators. I'll show you an example of that. Here is a theory of change example. Again, Coast Capital. They are an incredible role model of a social purpose organization. They're already well along the journey of embedding their social purpose. And this is the theory of change they're using to drive their strategy. So Coast's purpose is to build better futures together by unlocking financial opportunities that positively impact people and communities. Remember, they are a credit union and financial institution. So here's how they use the theory of change to delineate their strategies and outcomes. The bottom line there identifies the steps define the problem that they're trying to tackle, how they're addressing the problem, how they're focusing their efforts, the change they want to see, and what purpose looks like when it's realized. So that is your structure. The problem in this example is that income inequality is widening in Canada. So they want to remove a barrier to financial opportunities. To address that problem, they've adopted a social purpose business model, harnessing their enterprise capabilities, talents, resources, and relationships to build a better future for people and businesses in Canada. How they're going to focus? By building and supporting accessible education, equitable employment, inclusive finance, and by growing the purpose economy. What is the change they want to see and expect to see by addressing the problem and focusing their efforts? That people and businesses are accessing education, upskilling and reskilling, equitable employment, inclusive financial services, and purposeful work and workplaces. What does the purpose realized look like? The end result is that people and businesses in Canada have unlocked financial opportunities and grown their incomes to thrive together today and tomorrow. Coast is building a measurably better future together with its employees, members, and communities. And by the way, one of their new purpose products that has come out since they developed this is a new bank account that consumers can access that also gives them free access to the Coursera education platform. It's a platform where they can complete online courses to enhance their knowledge and expertise, enhancing, therefore, their capability of offering more to the workplace for promotions and pay. This is very interesting. They're meeting their business needs, a new product that they're offering their customers, and also meeting their social purpose objectives. Customer is getting their banking need met while also being able to access education that helps them upskill on today's emerging job skill trends so they can increase their incomes. When Coast developed this theory of change, I don't think they had that product created yet, but they used it, the theory of change, and the strategy of focusing their efforts on accessible education, equitable employment, and inclusive finance to identify this product. So you can see how this works. A purpose strategy drove the purpose product. So whether or not you decide to create and use a social purpose theory of change, which if you do, you can see how it will help you get crystal clear on your social purpose ambitions. But it's now time to embed your social purpose goals into your corporate strategy and business plan. For this, you can use this purpose measurement framework as a template for guidance. So the first level is state your purpose. The second level is your vision that is now fully aligned with your purpose. That is where you're headed. And perhaps set some goals and targets for that. Next, you might have some long-term goals, as your purpose can only be achieved over the long term. Then some shorter term goals. Start with the end in mind, work back, maybe 1 or 3 years. If this is too ambitious, too much from the beginning, just concentrate on setting your vision and goals and plans to get to this to advance your purpose. Make sure you put these, what you work out, your long-term, short and medium-term goals in your business plan or whatever your company uses to set objectives for the coming 1 or 2 years. So that, friends, were the first 4 organizational practice areas to put you on the social purpose implementation path, where you can drive progress on your purpose, set your course, engage your employees, evolve your products, and start your social purpose journey. So we in the roadmap have just covered plan and embed. As always, there is a link to a summary tool on the BC Chamber landing page for this series next to session 4 that you can download and use as you work through the things that we described here today. And in the next and last session, We will look at collaborate and report. They're externally focused and will be answering how are you going to bring your purpose to life outside of your organization. So before the next session, use the worksheet provided on the BC Chamber of Commerce landing page for this series. Do the work to assess and plan your implementation internally. Create a plan, create a timeline. Again, nobody expects perfection. It is not like flipping a switch and suddenly everything's copacetic. Nobody expects it's going to go perfectly smoothly, and that is okay. Don't let that stop you from starting because you know what you need to do and you will figure it out as you go. As long as your commitment to social purpose and your understanding the value it brings to your business and society is clear, you will get there. So thank you again for being here, for your commitment to learn and to do and to become a social purpose business or organization. This will enable you to have both a successful business and make the world a better place for us now and future generations. We'll see you next time.